Having become a super fan of magic mushrooms, I had the opportunity to go to a ceremony with the same shaman again just 2 months after the first. Now this costs approximately 75 USD per person, and that includes all the things that make a perfect setting for a journey, as well as the medicine. In addition, this time me and my partner came armed. We brought instruments and costume changes, and most importantly a candle to set in front of us. This both acts as a ceremonial gesture to the universe, as well as a way of lighting ourselves up for others to see. I assume that they want to see us because we find them so interesting in the candlelight. This time the setting is much further up on a mountaintop in southern Mexico. There is a campfire in the middle and approximately 30 to 40 people around that campfire. Some of the same faces from the last ceremony are there along with the shaman and his wife. Again, the people there seem quite normal. Nobody is particularly animated. There is great attention to keeping the fire going, and I find myself attempting to control the way the evening is to unfold at some level. For example, I'm worried that the musician who dresses so extravagantly and plays a lot of unique instruments might not show. I'm wondering where a certain person who was there the last time, who seemed to play an integral role, I'm wondering where they are. This is all just sort of nervousness and really sort of everyday material thought process that shouldn't really matter. Myself and my partner are starting to get the hang of things. We've taken our cues from other people, and we brought multicolored changes of clothes and bandanas and candles and even some very modest instruments. Okay, they're like Easter eggs with beans in them. They sound like maracas. We just never know when we'll be motivated to hop up and play our maracas. The ceremony goes much like the previous one. After the first dose sets in, which takes about 40 minutes, my body feels extremely relaxed and rather euphoric. This can change quickly depending on the music. The shaman, who is also an angelic musician, strums the guitar and begins the ceremony with simplistic but deeply meaningful music. Slowly, my brain seems to expand to reveal additional dimensions that I don't normally see. The trees have added colors and shapes that don't exist in my current reality, as well as they seem to have a multidimensionality that I can't seem to articulate. As the medicine really takes effect, I see across the campfire what appears to be one of my nephews holding a beer and staring at me, and slightly to his right is one of my other nephews. I took that as a reminder that I hadn't talked to them in a while. Note taken. For the most part, all music at these ceremonies is live and uses natural instruments. The simplicity and beauty of the songs is amazing, and the shaman knows just how to control the music so it has optimum effect. Throughout the evening, I almost feel like I'm part of something like The Truman Show. And I don't want to sound selfish, but I truly feel at times like this is all a show being put on just for me. I can't help feeling like people are trying to trick me. But in no way does this feel like a bad trip or paranoia. It feels like I'm getting a blessing of some kind. No matter what, it just brings me a great deal of joy, watching every single detail of the entire evening. The smallest detail can be interesting. I'll be looking down at my candle, and during a certain song it will look like there are hundreds of bugs crawling around. When the song stops, it appears that they are gone immediately. Throughout the evening, certain songs that have been written specifically for sacred medicine healing that are a little faster are played, and many people get up and dance. Some of them get up and dance to the point that they look like holograms spinning in a circle around the campfire. Other people wander back and forth, and they have either purposely changed their clothes to completely different colors and styles, or maybe I'm being given a subtle message telling me to take more time to notice the wonderful blessings around me every day that people are offering and the choices that they make when they get dressed and made up, etc. Weirdly, it's kind of a nice concept as you walk around the world looking around thinking that reality was created just for you. All the colors and shapes and activities. Keep in mind, I'm still evolving through my thought process, and what I'm seeing through these mushrooms is just so surreal that I'm trying to make sense of it. You'll find in upcoming videos that I'm getting closer and closer to the spiritual meaning, which is quite the opposite of what I'm describing in this video. There is a couple to my left of young people who are meek as could be when we first sit down during the ceremony. As the evening went on, I became absolutely fascinated with them, as they were fully committed to this ceremony. They had everything you could imagine with them to participate. Sometimes they would disappear into the ground by striking a yoga pose that was like downward dog in special knit hoodies. Other times they would be brightly colored. These people who were so quiet before would bring out these instruments and play along with these songs. Again, I couldn't help but think to myself that different people are planted there to serve certain purposes, for if not just me, for some of us, or for the newbies. Again, in the ceremony there was a great deal of animation. And when I talk about animation, I mean like old school animation. But even that changes to probably every kind of animation that's ever been created yet. I'll think a question, I'll get the answer back in terms of one of the animated characters frowning at me or laughing at me, and I'll understand. So now, a common theme that has come to me out of these ceremonies is the concept of non-player characters. I am convinced that some of the people are not real, or at least not all of them from the same dimension. We take a picture each morning of the attendees at the ceremony, and I check them over thoroughly trying to figure out what everyone's story is. It's especially difficult for me because most people are Spanish speaking. However, in the middle of the journey, I don't think there is any sort of language barrier, because I think when we are on this journey, it is our souls or our consciousness, and it does not use any one language. As we travel home, passing through many small villages and towns, I see visuals that I like to call the Sims. These are non-player characters all over the world, wherever we go, who don't require consciousness to add to our experience. The concept really bothered me at first, but since the ceremonies I've looked into both whether we are living in a simulation, which I just find disappointing, especially spiritually, when it's compared to a video game. The idea of some people being non-player characters is actually rather comforting to me, because there is so much suffering on the planet that the idea that there might be less is somewhat soothing. I highly suggest you check out the work of Dolores Cannon to learn more about how non-player characters fit into our world spiritually. There is a lot of discussion at the ceremonies about not disrespecting the medicine. This means things like fasting before taking it, not eating red meat, not using it recreationally, and realizing that you're dealing with an ancient spiritual gift to the planet. However, it's somewhat confusing to me at this point, because although the songs are all about the things we are grateful for, like water and fire and air, the direction that the mushrooms are taking me is to a place where none of those things are even real, rather constructs designed to make us appreciate life. I'm not sure what other people are getting out of these experiences. For me, with each journey, I learn more. In these videos, I'm not going to discuss every ceremony. I'll only discuss them when something unique occurs. As I mentioned, if you don't journal in close proximity to the ceremony, a lot of the detail is lost. Additionally, 95% of the attendees at my ceremonies are Spanish speakers, and I'm not. This means I need to pick up what little I can from them when we have the morning integration, and that is mostly energetically. The one thing I can promise is I always leave with a feeling of euphoria and peace for weeks after. I feel like I've had a reunion with soulmates, and that rewires my brain to feel extreme gratitude for all people and all things. Join me next time for my talk on personal ceremonies, the ideal playlist with some suggestions, how I used the mushrooms to get over the loss of my brother, and the special birthday present I got from the universe on my 62nd birthday.